Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 3 of class. This week we'll be covering departments and operations of esports organizations. First thing I wanted to say is after reading through your week 2 assignments, I think everyone's pretty much on the right track for what we need to do for that first project. I'm going to leave some feedback individually for each of you as I go through and kind of just give suggestions for things to do with that, things to look out for. So really make sure that you're looking at those discussion uh, comments that I'll leave. So just wanted to throw that out there for you. This week we can jump over to the to do, and you can see, like I said, departments and operations is what we'll be covering. Watch this video that I'm recording now, and then complete the weekly. It's really complete the weekly assignment. Initial posts are due Friday at 11:59. Replies are due Sunday. The replies this time are more feedback for your peers, so please make sure that you get those done. You're posted by Friday, and then get some replies done for them. So this document is already posted under the readings for this week. This is just a breakdown of some of the different type of departments or things like that that you could see in your organization. So I'll break these down real quick, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the assignment, and then we'll touch base on the organization project again. So number one, first department would be competitive operations or team management. So this can include anything from player recruitment and development, tournament logistics, and wellness support. So basically, this has everything to do with your players in competition, what you're doing. This is the main part of my day-to-day job right now. Scouting that talent, recruiting in high schools, um, developing my players with practice plans, different VOD reviews, setting up scrimmages for them to do, tournament logistics. So this could be anything from like registering your teams, scheduling all of your practices, coordinating travel. This could even be organizing those tournaments and setting them up, and then wellness support, managing player health through different means, whether that be physically, mentally, all types of stuff there. Content creation and media production also could be tied in with marketing down here. But content strategy, planning streams, videos, and social media content to align with all of your brand goals, all of your production, whether that be following the team with the camera to capture the footage, clipping things from streams, editing your videos, putting together your highlight reels for all of your players and teams and stuff. Also, engagement, so coordinating with players to showcase personalities, whether that be through like vlogs, behind the scenes, player interviews, different types of content and stuff like that. But really getting your player, your team, your brand out in front of eyes so that they can be engaged with the community. Event tournament operations. So I touched on that a little bit with competitive ops and team management, but this is going to be like your event planning. So whether that be like watch parties or tournaments that your teams are in, um, planning tournaments for your team, or just as the league yourself, if depending on what type of organization you are, and then setting up like fan meetups from the team side, or different events and things to do while at the event for spectators. Production logistics, so coordinate with venues, broadcasters, sponsors to just make sure that everything on the live production side is going well, and then also all of your broadcast stuff. So a couple different teams within that department to make sure basically the event goes through. If you guys have done like the event management class for sport management, you'll get a really good grasp of that. And if you haven't, I recommend it. It's a great class. Next, marketing and partnerships. So these getting your brand out there, getting your team out there. So messages that resonate with the community, securing and maintaining sponsorships, big emphasis on maintaining with different brands like Red Bull sponsors a lot of esports stuff, Logitech for the peripherals and everything there, mice, keyboard, headsets. Um, Community engagement's pretty much always going to be there with marketing. So ways to involve your community with your team. Technology and infrastructure, big part of an esports organization is making sure that all of your tech and internet and stuff is where it needs to be. So anything from like hardware maintenance to someone has to update the drivers on your computers, and stuff. So making sure that everything's there, everything's still working and good to go. Network optimization, making sure that you have the best connections to all the different servers and stuff. Gonna matter more on LAN, um, kind of, depending on the game, to make sure that you have everything that you need to. Software integrity, making sure, or integration, not integrity, but like using analytical tools to track player performance. Pretty much every game has some type of tracker. How can you use those in your workflows and stuff to make your team better? It's a big one there too. Next department would be finance and accounting. So any business has to have a finance or accounting department. Money makes the businesses go. So budgeting and forecasting, you need to plan all of your expenses. I'm literally going through a budget planning process right now, just on the college side. We have to think about our next year while we're still competing in this year. What tournaments are we going to go to? Who are we paying? How much are we paying them? How much do I need for travel for the team? But then how much do I need for recruiting travel for myself to go out to different schools and events and stuff like that? How much are we budgeting for if equipment breaks? So going through a ton of that stuff. Um, Revenue management is a good one too. You need to, how are you bringing money in? Um, what are you doing to generate those dollars for your organization, basically? Payroll. If you don't have someone writing checks, people aren't getting paid, and then you don't exist anymore. So making sure you have someone to do all that payroll and stuff, and then kind of the same thing with that financial reporting, whether that be for stakeholders, for the government, for taxes and things like that. So just some things to keep in mind that you might not think that you need a finance department for esports, but you need one for pretty much like literally any business. Same thing down here for legal and compliance. Not something that you typically think of when you think, oh, what do I need for an esports org? But you need something. Player contracts, staff contracts, sponsorship agreements. You need someone to be able to manage those contracts, whether that be someone on staff or you have a lawyer that you go to. Um, IP protection, and like for intellectual property. So safeguarding your logos, merge, and content from unauthorized use, but also interacting with IPs in the way that you're supposed to. So esports, you're in with games a lot, so making sure that you're not violating anything in the way that you use the game. And then like your basic compliance stuff, making sure you adhere to all the regulations and labor laws and stuff like that too. And then kind of same thing for risk management. So risk management could really be under finance or legal, addressing potential liabilities, financial or not, related to events, player behavior, public relations. So just looking at all that, there's a few more that you could go into there, but these are just kind of the big keystrokes for you guys. Like I said, this is actually linked in the readings already, so you guys have a breakdown of like these potential different departments and stuff like that too. I think that covers a lot of the basics. Like I said, um, even an esports organization is a business, and you have to think about how you're going to operate and make that money. And kind of each of these departments are, at least the things that they do, are represented in some way. So even if like me, for example, as a college esports um, coach and director, like I do all of the competitive ops and team management. I handle and lead like the content creation, media production. I'm doing all the organization for our tournaments or events that we're doing. I'm working with our marketing department on some stuff, working with our IT department. I'm also leading that. I work with our local budget officer in our department and stuff, and then we have the overall compliance stuff. So some of these might be folded into one role. You might have multiple roles for each. It just kind of depends on what level you're at, and really realistically what you're looking for some of those organizations and stuff. So lots of different ways that they can interact, but you're going to need them in some way. And that's kind of what we talk about with the assignment this week, right? So, again, this week is an extension of last week. We're using this to build into your project. But please answer each of these. Give it some good thought. Like I said, it's going to help you with your project if you give these weekly assignments good thought and really think about them. And please give feedback to your classmates too, so that they have more than just me telling them stuff. That way, they can hear from you as well. But questions for this week: what type of facility will your org need for daily operations? Will it need special facilities for things like events? What departments are essential? Like what do you need? Um, what are key positions that will need to operate within these departments? And then what kind of equipment will your org need to go? So just thinking about all of those things, what you're going to need, everything that you'll do, base it on all the stuff that we cover here and the type of organization that you are. Please give some good answers for these. Right here at the end of the video, just wanted to talk again about your organization project. It does have a due date of February 23rd. So we're still a ways out, couple weeks. Um, well, actually, technically it's February 22nd. Sorry, these are due at 12:01 a.m. on Monday. So these are going to be due February 22nd. So you're at just under 2 weeks out for your organization. If you haven't yet, start doing the research for part one. Um, this is a big part of it. You're going to need to understand how other organizations are, so that you can really plan and build yours out. And then part two, we're working on these, right? This is kind of what we're doing now. So you'll have a good base to build from these just from interacting with the class, but you're gonna have to go out and do extra work for this one, for the actual project. So please just make sure that you get those done for me. And I wanted to throw that reminder out there for you. Other than that, that's all I have for this week. If you have any questions, please just let me know. I will get some comments to you guys about your week 2 stuff later today. I'll work through those while we're waiting to compete tonight and stuff. But if you have any questions, just let me know. Hope you have a good rest of your week.